We were away last week, so we feel like we kind of owe you guys a good show. We're flying a man short today. Ryan from Ars Bros. Ryan could not be with us today. He had surgery last Friday. I'm sure he will be in the live chat, watching, listening, making comments, and none of us will be able to yell at him live on the air. We hope he feels better. We've got a good little panel here for you today. A lot of news, information, things to get to. So let's dive in straight away. How's it? Welcome into another episode of Loose Cannons. You guys know who I am. Next to me is Dr. Sniper, the three-point man himself. Jackson, what's going on, brother? How are you?
How's it going, man? I'm doing great. Had some time to process our last result and starting to feel better about the outlook of the season, but that one definitely took some days for me to get over.
I'm not sure that I'm over it at all yet. So we're going to get there. We do have the real Ryan joining us here any moment now. And like I said, Ars Bros. Ryan, a little under the weather. He had surgery last Friday to repair his ACL. So send him a good thought. And hopefully he's up to feeling better soon. So yeah, it's been an eventful 10 days. There he is.
Hey,
the real Ryan, back from, by the way. All right. So back from Portugal.
Yeah.
How was it?
Okay. So here's the thing about Portugal. Lisbon rules. Like, I just, for some background, my wife's best friend got married to her husband now that is from Portugal. And so we're there for a wedding and we stayed in Lisbon.
Oh.
Yeah. And we stayed in Lisbon and they got married in Golia, which is countryside, a little bit north of Lisbon. So we got a little bit of the countryside wedding, really beautiful. And then we obviously stayed downtown in Liberdade. And I didn't really do too much due diligence, found a couple restaurants, whatever, that I knew were, or that I learned about were good or whatever. But like, the city's so cool and so lively. Like, there's just a lot going on, a lot of foot traffic, a lot of restaurants and shops and just, cool tile streets and whatnot. And I am so sad we left. Yeah.
It's vacation. You're usually sad when you leave vacation.
I know, because I was looking, I was like, wait, doesn't Arsenal play Sporting Lisbon somewhere? I was like, if that game's in Lisbon, I have to go back.
Right.
It was amazing. Truly, like, an awesome week. The hotel we stayed at was amazing. If anyone goes there, stay at the Ivans in downtown Lisbon, and you will not be disappointed. I promise you. The really cool boutique hotel, just awesome staff, great restaurant. One of the best restaurants in Lisbon is connected to it, called Rocco. Cool bar. So, 10 out of 10. Really cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you got to do that. So we pretty much are kicking off here. I guess let's go back because we haven't done a show in 2 weeks. So we're gonna backtrack a little bit before we get into the game. Doc, I'll start with you on Raheem Sterling. How do you feel about it?
No, I think that was a great piece of business by Adu at the end of the window. I think he had kicked the tires on a couple of other options, and there was really nothing left. And we were also, catching Chelsea in a vulnerable spot, which was nice for us. So we've got them paying, I've seen upwards of $10 million for him to be playing for us this year. So I'm going to enjoy bugging my obnoxious Chelsea friends every time they're having to pay for a goal and assist for us this year. But I did see a tweet from James Binge on Twitter. He's a great follow for Arsenal related stuff. And this was his tweet. Last season, in a faltering Chelsea side, Raheem Sterling averaged 0.49 expected goals and assists per 90 in the Premier League. And he said, for comparison, that was better than Gabriel Martinelli's output from the previous 2 years. And we obviously know that this year hasn't gone off to a great start either. So bringing someone with that bit of quality into the side that we can play in the forward positions, and most importantly, give our birthday boy Saka some much needed rest at times. I think it was a great piece of business, especially since Chelsea was taking on such a load of the wages, and we also don't have an obligation to buy. So, if things work out, we could potentially have leverage over Chelsea again at the end of this season, and maybe they could terminate a contract and we can sign them on a free or something, or maybe just pay a little fee. But I think it's a great piece of business, and there's not a ton of risk there.
I mean, I don't think there's really any risk at all there. Ryan, what say you?
Yeah, I think for some reason when Sterling's name got floated out in the beginning, I kind of didn't want any part of it. I think it's because I was more attracted to maybe a different profile or someone younger, because there were some other names that were still in the mixer. But as the deadline day, started to come near, and we started to, basically get rid of some of our depth, with Reese and with ESR, so I'm like, okay, well, we got to do something. And, just these reports from Chelsea, just like, I don't know why anyone wants to go there. It's just, you're seeing how they're treating these players. Like, we're talking about basically just getting locked out of the facility. Like, just don't come, like, just go train somewhere else. And whatever. It's unbelievable. And they're bringing in, João Felix, and they're bringing in Jadon Sancho. And I saw a tweet from someone, and the name, I'll never find it, but he was basically saying how Bowley and these guys are treating it, because, they're baseball guys, is they are really treating these players like just assets. Like, they're just buying low, like they're buying the dip on like everybody. And they just feel like whether they get to their crazy valuations that they used to have, it doesn't matter, because at some point maybe we can sell them for a little bit more. And that's literally how they're treating all. It doesn't matter if they fit, doesn't matter any of that. Just, we see an asset that we think is undervalued. The RSI, if you're a trader, is low. It's oversold, and we're gonna buy it, and we're just gonna whatever. Well, hopefully they get minutes, and hopefully we can sell them for more or keep them. So it's a crazy model. It could work. But Sterling sitting there having played pretty well, thinking like, what did I do to just get shut out? And, just being told that either we don't like your profile, we don't like you, other players, younger, whatever. So I think for me now, the biggest part that I'm really enjoying is this like revenge factor.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably pissed, dude. And we obviously have a pretty good track record recently of getting guys that are kind of getting put on the back burner at Chelsea. And I don't think he could have came to a better place. And there's reports that he turned down some Saudi money, which is another thing, which is awesome. It means he really does want to be here and work with Mikel, who he's worked with before. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we know there's going to be some minutes for him. He understands Arteta, the system. I mean, he's won Premier Leagues. Like, he's a true vet. And I think he, after watching Arsenal Vision's scouting video, like, he looks good. Like, I don't think we're getting someone who is going to give us a Willian where, we're just like, oh man, like, we bought a lemon. Like, what have we done? I think he's going to come in and like hit the ground running. And there's a weird part of me that like thinks he might start in the North London Derby. I don't know. That'd be crazy. But yeah, like, I don't think I was excited at first in the beginning of the window, but at the end, and like when it happened on the final day, like, I was pumped. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's the perfect player who can play across the line. Obviously, we know, like, we don't want Saka playing 100 million games and wearing out if we're gonna, take some of these competitions deep. So it's a great addition, and I'm now, after it's done, like, really, really excited for him and us. Obviously, I think it's gonna go well.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up the North London Derby. We'll get there in a little bit. but I look at this as like I see people complaining, oh, Chelsea reject this, that, and the other thing. And I basically just said, show me the downside. Show me the downside. Where's the downside of this? We're paying him $100 grand a week. They're paying him $250. There's no obligation to buy. And I mean, it's for everything both of you said. Again, show me the downside to bringing him on board. He has a track record and a history with Arteta at Manchester City. And I saw the stats and I don't remember. So if anybody has them handy, by all means, throw them out. But their last season together at City, he was in double digits. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know he was double digits in goals and assists. I'm not talking total. I'm talking each. Double-digit goals and double-digit assists. Again, take it with a pinch of salt, given it's Manchester City, but there's history there. And yeah, the revenge thing is because he's not going to play for Chelsea. So here's the other thing too. He wants out permanently. So he's here for a year. Now the age pro, he's what? Is he 29? He's not even he should be not. He's on the backside of his prime. I will admit that he's on the backside of his prime. If he performs well here this year, and I weirdly think he will, I would not hate the idea of giving him, say, a 2-year deal with an option for a third next season. If the fee and everything, if it's a reasonable fee and whatnot, but I am really looking forward to see what he does, especially in the Champions League for us. I think that's where he's going to get the bulk of his starts. And I think he'll start out on the left. And look, and like Stuart said, maybe this will get Martinelli to pick his head up when he runs. That's tremendous. But hopefully he makes him better. Hopefully he comes in and can even be a mentor to some of the younger guys. I mean, even Saka, can he come in and even get Saka to elevate his game? Is there another level that Bukayo Saka can get to? Can Raheem Sterling help him with that? So I am really looking forward to seeing him play. We'll get to the North London Derby thing in a little bit, but overall, Ryan, what would you say out of 10 grade the transfer window? All things considered.
Like 7.5. I think. I think there was a moment there where I was like, oh man, we're in trouble. But and I think it doesn't help that Marino's hurt, right? Like that doesn't make things great. But I'm still acting like as if, and I mean, technically Rye is in there too, so that helps. But yeah, I'll say 7.5. I looked at it. Scott Willis, he put a thing out. There wasn't really a lot of talent on the wings that I think we could get that was going to make sense. I mean, obviously everyone wanted Nico Williams. No one got Nico Williams, FYI. So I guess it really wasn't there, for anybody really. And I mean, other than that, I mean, I know Rafinha, we've been talking about him for 2 years now. I don't know how much he wants to leave Barcelona, and I'm sure he wants guaranteed minutes. So it's just I think all things considered, we did pretty well. It's not a 10 out of 10, but I think we covered some positions that we needed, people for. I think another thing too that I'm proud of is, we're definitely in a win now, stage. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to get in these same positions where we're paying over the odds to try and get something across the line, and it totally just messes up our budget for future windows or whatever. We're going to be in the way we did it. We're going to be in really good. Everyone's good fees. It seems like the wages are solid. We're going to be in good shape to have a splash play at some point. And it wasn't on. I think if there was one, we would have taken the shot, but it wasn't on right now, and we didn't force it. So, and that makes me feel good too. So I'll have to, with a grain of salt, So yeah. 7.
Yeah. Doc.
Yeah. I would say I'd probably be around a 7.5 to 8 range. I really think to real Ryan's point, it was a great point. The two main, attacking options that we really were pushing hard for, they both stayed at home in Sesko and Nico Williams. So it wasn't like we lost out to them on, a competitor or anything like that. Or it was just unfortunate. Sesko ended up signing a new deal, and so the release clause didn't work. And I think we were really only in for him because it made sense business-wise. I don't think we were ever just saying we absolutely need a striker. And I think that the rest of the transfer window proved that. And then obviously Nico Williams is going to give his home club one more year. So all in all, I think it was a good window. And then I think it's also, important to bring up that, we officially, signed Raya this window, and man, has he looked good this season. He's silencing a lot of doubters, and I think we've got our one for years to come. Obviously, I'm going to be excited to see Mourinho finally suit up for us. Sucks that he got injured before he could make his debut. And then I'm also excited to see, how Calafiori can flourish in this team once we start to get more fixtures where he can really prove himself with starting a match. So I'm excited for the upcoming weeks when we'll get a chance to see him play some. And then also love how we didn't panic with the goalkeeper situation with John Garcia. If they weren't willing to, negotiate with us, and I'm fine with us passing on that. And I think, Neto's a great proven veteran backup that we can have on the bench, because we saw last year, Arteta's going to play Raya throughout the Champions League as well. So
yeah, it's
just nice to have a veteran on there in case an injury happens. But, all in all, I'm happy with the window.
Yeah, it's 7.5, 8. And let's also not forget the outgoing business that we did. This was really a window of sort of a one in, one out kind of thing. And it started to kind of come into focus for me really when I was in Philly. And I don't wait, the Emile Smith-Rowe outgoing deal, Calafiori was coming in. And it's like, okay, this is kind of how this is going to work this summer. There's not going to be, I don't really think they were in for a big splash, because now we've only registered a 22 player roster for the league. And the Champions League is list A, list B kind of thing. So you register, I think, I don't even know what the final count was, 20 or 22 for Champions League on list A, but then list B can change match to match. So there'll be
we had 22 on list A.
Was it 22 on list A? But the outgoings, the incomings, we actually did, I think, pretty good business with the outgoings and getting what I think we all, when we've talked about this, because we've all at one point in time or another discussed outgoing valuations of our own players. I'll be honest, the 25 mil for Aaron Ramsdale. Yes, I know it's 18 mil flat fee, 7 mil add-ons. Only 1 million of the add-on is Southampton staying up.
That was important.
And that's a big one. But so let's just assume they're not staying up. So if he meets every other performance add-on, we get 24 mil from a guy who played 5 matches last season. Can't get a shout with the England team. He'll get a call up, but he doesn't get any minutes playing internationally. So 24 mil for a goalkeeper who played 5 matches last season.
And we had no leverage. They know we're not playing them.
Right.
So I think that was really good.
We've talked about how we have tanked our own players' values by not playing them. 30 mil for Eddie. 35 for ESR, somewhere in that neighborhood, and another. What's that, Doc?
I think it was 30 plus 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, 30 plus 5. Okay, and then like I say, and let's drop the million for the for the staying up. 24 mil for Ramsdale. That's great. That's great outgoing business, in my opinion.
And a lot of that's going to be good on the books, because these are from the academy,
Well, so ESR and Eddie are both. Yeah, that's pure profit. Eddie and ESR.
And is Reese is alone? Is he or no?
Reese is alone.
Okay,
Reese is alone.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Was there an obligation or an option in the loan to buy?
I don't think so.
With Reese, or just straight loan?
I've got the transfer market website pulled up. It said we had 82 million euros that we obtained from selling players, and then we paid 108. So roughly 28. So that's 28
Well,
million euros rough spend. So that's not too bad.
So you know what that boils down to. The only player that was not a one in after a one out was David Raya. And that was, let's also go back to last season, £3 million loan fee, 27 mil purchase.
Everything else comes out in the wash. You're right.
Yep. And that was an obligation. So we already knew we were spending that. So theoretically, you're an accountant, and I'm not going to get into accountants and all that shit, but you're one of the accountants at Arsenal. You're saying, well, we're just kind of figuring this 27 mil on the books last season. We've already committed to it. It's just going to come out this season, so however they decide they want to work that. I think the bigger thing to me, I mean, I love the players that we brought in, and I love the profile. Calafiori, I mean, when we did the season preview show, I talked a little bit about him. I think he could be he was not my unsung hero, but I think he could be. There's potential there. I think he could be. Mikel Merino, yeah, hopefully this, it's 2 months, and shit happens. I see people like complaining about the Mikel Merino injury. It's like, oh, well, we sold ESR. It's like, but if you don't sell ESR, you're not getting Mikel Merino.
Exactly.
So what do you want here? So do you want to just like, wait a minute, we want to redo the transfer portal. We want to reopen it for another 10 days so we can go find another midfielder. But then when Merino comes back and is healthy, we're going to try, can we reopen it for another 3 days so we can try to sell that? And like, you're not making any sense here with this. Like you've done your business. Injuries are a part of the game, and it sucks. It is what it is, but you've got to live with it. And now I hate that I am going to quote Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Steelers, because I think he's the worst coach in the NFL. But it's simply a next man up situation. And it's a platitude, it's a cliche. It's like that no matter what team, no matter what sport you deal with injuries, it's next man up. So going into the North London Derby, which, okay, we don't have him, and yet now the Declan Rice thing, we'll get there in a minute, but it's next man up. Now is it Jorginho who's going to play? Do we drop Havertz back and in comes Raheem Sterling and we figure out somebody, I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get there in a little bit. Stu, I am with you 100% on this. There is a sick and twisted.
You're sick.
Part of me that wants him to start that game. I
don't hate it.
Listen. I've said before, man. You're only going to get better if you play better competition. Don't save him for Bournemouth. Don't save him for Ipswich. Throw him in. What I say, what's the worst that can happen? And I don't touch wood. I don't want to jinx anything. I'm not going to say that again. But what's that?
I said, don't speak that into existence.
I know, right?
I think it's also important to note with Marino, with him being a veteran and him being, what is he, 28 years old? I think it's important to note that it wasn't like soft tissue or anything lower half. Yeah. Clearly just a freak accident with like a shoulder.
Right.
Like it's not going to affect him at all when he gets back. So if we would have signed a 28-year-old midfielder and, he's got a hamstring or, calf or something, then I would feel like the frustrations could be more valid. But like you said, it's just a freak accident. He's going to be completely fine when he gets back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And muscles, you pull one, you could, you feel better for a week, but you tweak it. You know what I mean? And they're nagging injuries. This is a bone.
Right.
When it's healed, it's healed.
Over, yeah.
Period. The only thing that I worry about is how does it affect his physicality? Because he's a physical player. And I think, we've seen all of the stats on the duels won, most duels won of any of the top 5 leagues. So that's the only part of the injury that worries me, especially when you're going in for a challenge. And obviously you're leading with your shoulder. So, but it's bone, and when it heals, it's healed. You're not really at risk of. I'm done talking. I'm not a doctor, and we already have one doctor on this show. I'm not gonna keep going. So, Stu makes a good point. Yeah, it's just a bone. We got a lot of those. So, yeah. We do. God saw fit to give him 60 some odd or 200 and some odd more. So 60 some. So transfer business out of the way. I guess we'll move on to Chris Kavanaugh. And
Chris Kavanaugh.
Who's that?
Yeah. This is one of those, like, should I say his name or is he like whatever the villain in Harry Potter? He who shall not be named or whatever. For the Harry Potter fans of which I am not. But I can't. The thing. I don't know which is worse. I don't know if the PGMOL coming out with apologies is worse, and in the acknowledgement of an error was made, or the lack of apology, because I've heard nothing all week from anyone. It's been radio silence. And so are they saying that he got the call right? I don't care what the letter of the law is. As soon as you say, well, the letter of the law, okay, so it's horseshit. So it's horseshit. Is letter of the law, it's horseshit. This is, and by the way, it's an on-field camera who is basically right at Veltman. So you're watching on your screen the camera guy, the field level camera guy. So it's one of those cameras that's like, got the waist thing and he's kind of holding it here. He's right. He's even with Veltman. So Declan Rice is to the right. If you're watching on the screen, Declan Rice is in front of Veltman. So to your right, as you're watching, and you can see Kavanaugh a good 20 yards away. Kavanaugh's already in his pocket, and Declan Rice hasn't kicked the ball yet. Declan Rice has not touched the ball. The ball is at Veltman's feet. Kavanaugh's already in his pocket. He's already carding, I can only imagine, Declan Rice for what I think would be the challenge in the corner, which I don't think that's a card for the challenge. There was nothing egregious there. You can give a free kick, which is what he was doing, sure, but there's no foul there. There's no cardable offense. And he's already in his pocket. And I've watched this so many times trying to talk myself into, okay, it's the letter of the law. He got the call right. It is what it is. It's not. He's sending Declan Rice off before Declan Rice even touches the ball. He's sending him off. So at that point, sorry, I'm going on a bit of a rant. Bear with me.
No, yeah, keep going.
Everybody talks about incompetence. I said this last season. I probably said it the year before that. It's not incompetence anymore. It's not. If it's incompetence, they get sent down to the championship, to League One. They'd be officiating games down there. Hey, you know what? You're not good enough up here. You're going to go down. It's like a baseball player. Hey, you're batting .310 in AAA, but you come up here and you're 20 points below the Mendoza line. You're going back down. Whatever. But there's none of that. So it's corruption, because it's one of two, and it's not incompetence. So it has to be corruption. I don't know what the corruption is. I don't know. Are they allowing the officials to bet on, are they watching EPL pitch picks? Are we giving them information and they're taking that and they're affecting the outcomes of games? Conspiracy theory, secret time. I don't want to say that I don't wholeheartedly believe it. I'll put it this way. I don't wholeheartedly believe what I'm about to say, but if it ever were to come out that it's true, I would not be stunned. That Manchester City are buying the trophy. The Mansour family is just like, what's it going to take? We need drop points somehow to assure that we win the league. Just tell us how much money to give you. Chris Kavanaugh is already sending off Declan Rice, and Declan Rice has done nothing. And then the ball rolls into his foot. if his foot does this, his foot doesn't do this. It doesn't do that. His foot does this. He turns his foot out. And we're saying that's kicking the ball away? I cannot for the life of me wrap my brain around this. And imagine we finish second by 2 points. Imagine we finish second by 1 point. And everyone is going to go back to that. I've said before that there are situations where I think Mikel Arteta should just go to his players on the touch, just walk out of the technical area, go to his players, just come on, we're done. We're done. Forfeit the game, and then the next game, be in the stadium, stay in the locker room. Go play. Go. We can't affect the game by playing it. Nothing we do matters. It only matters what the official wants. So you go out there. You play the game. That's what you seem to want. All eyes on you, so go. What would happen?
That'd be a statement for sure.
I mean, it's ludicrous. I know that. And people think I'm,
that's how we feel though, as fans. We do feel like that.
I can't. This is one of those things. Somebody jump in here and stop me because I'm just going to keep going. Doc, what say you on this?
I mean, I think there were two crucial pieces to the kicking the ball away incident here, right? And that's the explanation that, like you said, we didn't officially get from the PGMOL, but that's what a lot of the pundits are saying. Like, that's the reason he got sent off. Okay, so let's go and review what they said. So first, the narrative was that Declan Rice stopped the attempt at a quick free kick. At no point in time was that ball stopped and ready to be kicked before it hit Declan Rice's foot. Veltman rolled the ball into Rice. It hit Rice's foot before it had ever stopped. And like you said, the second point about this is just as crucial because we see players all across the pitch. Sometimes they pick the ball up with their hands and roll it away a little bit. Sometimes they tap it a little bit. That's fine. You really only run into danger when you boot the ball away, which Wolves did in the first half, kicked it all the way down the fucking field. But in this scenario, it was just a tap, just like you see all over the field. And I think I don't know, like there's a ton of conspiracy theories we can go down. I think there's a lot of validity to what BG has said. But at the end of the day, at minimum, these guys like Chris Kavanaugh, they're just wanting to be a part of the story. There's so much glamour around being a center ref in the Premier League. We know them all on a first name basis. Mm-hmm. They get so much TV time. And I think it really gives them a feeling inside to be a part of the show. And I think that's exactly what he did there because there was nothing that Declan Rice did that was unsportsmanlike, stopped an advantage for the other team, anything. There was absolutely nothing that happened. And yet we get sent off and get dropped down to 10 men for an entire half. It's pathetic.
Ryan, before you go,
yep,
we're probably going to get canceled for what I'm about to say. Somehow or other, this is going to come back.
Yeah, you do it first. You get in trouble before I start talking.
I am by no means advocating for this. Don't any of you dare do what I am about to mention. I am not suggesting that you do this. If you do, I hope you get the shit beat out of you. We have seen and heard about death threats to players, the abuse that Granit Xhaka went through when he was here, and the things that were said about his wife and his baby and all this and that. I never hear that with Premier League officials, but we know their names. We know their names. And I am not, again, I'm not, it's as serious as we all take this. I mean, I would never do this because I don't care that much. But there are people out there who are that crazy. And it's a little surprising as much as I don't hate to say it. I hate to say it, but don't hate to say it. Kind of the world we live in, where if it did happen, I wouldn't be surprised. But when Doc, when you said we're on a first name basis with these guys. I don't want it to happen. I do not want it to happen. I guess it's just a weird thing that just kind of popped into my head. Like, there are people whose weekends, like their weeks, really are affected by this. I mean, that they cannot compartmentalize the loss, the second yellow leading to the red, leading to the loss, the draw. You know, there are people who can't do that. They don't know what to do, so they go and they do stupid shit.
I mean, and to your point earlier, I know you were making a joke, but with the gambling landscape, and it's just as big as England. It's all over the shirts.
Oh my God, it's bigger there.
Stadiums, and for like a result like that to go that way simply because of a decision. Because if you go and look at the analytics, we won the expected goals battle with 10 men, and we played with 10 men for an entire half. I mean, it was a game that, Arsenal just frankly wins if Declan Rice doesn't get sent off. And we just have this guy, just making it all about him and wanting to be the center of attention. And another thing that gets brought up all the time, and I don't know why there's never any real traction to it. Why don't we have these guys sit in front of a mic and have to answer questions about what they did? Like, why doesn't he have to go into the press room and answer why he sent off Declan Rice? Like, why?
Ryan, go. We're going to come back to that because I have a comment that I want to make. But Ryan, I want to get your take on all of this, and I'm quite certain it's pretty much on par with Doc and I. So
yeah, I mean, we're singing from the same hymn sheet on all of this, and I guess for me, it's just mostly like, I think we're just getting tired of this, right? Like, Arteta brought it up last year when we played Newcastle. It's like it's too hard to win a Premier League against a city, when decisions that should go your way don't. And we're talking about 2 points. Like we lost the league by 2 points, right? Like and there's games that we can look back on if the decisions were just made correctly. We're talking about we're in a different position because, man, these calls don't. When's the last time you've seen Man City fans freaking out like this over decisions? This just doesn't happen to them. Whoa, that's weird. Wow. Never seems to happen to City. That's kind of interesting. And just the foul in general, Veltman just loads up, man. He's not trying to do anything in that moment except kick the shit out of Declan Rice because he got ragdolled and thrown to the ground, and he's throwing a fit, he's throwing a strop, and he takes the opportunity to kick the ball against him. So that way he can, and not only that, he's so lucky that Declan Rice doesn't get hurt there. He's on a standing leg, not knowing that this dude is coming from behind him with some pace and just absolutely kicks him hard. Like, I mean, we're lucky Declan Rice is a tank and he just doesn't get hurt like that. But like, if that happens to maybe a lot of other players, I mean, we could be talking about a legitimately long-term injury. And I thought the refs are supposed to be there. The first rule is to protect the players. Okay, well, I would have been okay if I can't believe Veltman gets nothing. That's the thing. Right. If you want to give me letter of the law, even though they didn't do it in the game at all, because Pedro kicked the ball 60 yards away when Arteta's about to pick it up and give it to our player for a quick throw. And not only that, in the 84th minute, we had a free kick and they picked the ball up and walked away with it. Nothing. Same game. Yep. And not only that, but like you have someone that is purposely picking the ball up and walking away. I don't know. Like, I understand, like, not everyone's played soccer, but like, what happens to Declan Rice and the ball hitting the back of his heel and him just doing a slight little nudge or what? Like, dude, that is just a common thing. Just, you know what I mean? He's not even thinking like, oh, I'm going to stop Veltman from playing quick. Why would? First of all, at that moment, Brighton are in their own end. They're not. Why are they playing quick? Who are they hitting on the break from?
There's nobody up there. There's no one in front of him. Even if he makes contact with that ball, yeah, and Kavanaugh allows play to continue, we're going to get the ball because they had no one up there.
And secondly, the foul happens 10 yards behind where he gets kicked. It's not the ball's not even in the right place, and it's rolling. So it's just like
that's the biggest thing to me. It's rolling. It was never still.
And then you have Dale Johnson the prick coming out, I'm so sick of him. Just every week he comes out and he just defends and covers for these guys. Like, just stop doing this. No one wants to see the recaps anymore because you aren't being objective. You're trying to find a way where you can let your buddies off the hook, and it's annoying. Like, it just doesn't make any sense anymore. And there's a couple of guys, Elliot and Scott, he was actually responding to them, and he just twisted himself into a pretzel. Because he's trying to say, well, he could have done this or could have done that, but none of it was making any sense. And then he comes to say, well, I did say it was harsh, but you said the call was correct. So I think we're just getting tired of it. And, we already have people losing their minds because, we dropped points in the third game of the season and Liverpool has 9 points, the City has 9 points. Oh, it's over. So it's frustrating to have to deal with that for a call that just, this is what a lot of people have been talking about. It's always us that are the ones that have to be the ones to be the catalyst for it to never happen again. The Martinelli double yellow. Have we seen that again? Nope. Remember what happened to Tomiyasu against Palace with a 7-second throw in, and he gets a yellow for that, and then IU tricks them to thinking he got his shirt tugged and he got a red, the second yellow. Like, these things just stop happening once they happen to us. And it's frustrating because what we're trying to accomplish, who we're trying to beat to win a title, and all the things that always go their way, it doesn't help, right? And I understand like why we're so frustrated, and I get it. And it's just and to compound things, we have the North London derby coming off of that. Declan Rice is not going to play and we're away from home. It's just like, it's the worst thing that could have happened, because and I think Doc brought it up. At that moment, Brighton had 0.08 XG. They had nothing. They weren't doing anything. We were just gonna comfortably. We're just gonna put that game to bed. Like, whether it's 1-0 or 2-0, like we weren't losing that game if we had a full team. And you guys mentioned it too. We also created better chances down to 10 men, which is something that historically I've always been nervous about. When we go down to 10, I always think like, well, that's it. We won't create anything. We'll go in a shell. And even when we've done that, our defense is so good. Like, I feel good about us holding a lead if we do go to 10, but not for 50 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's too long. You get a red in the 70th or 80th. Like, I'm like, okay, we can probably sit it out. I mean, we're talking about a whole half. So, and then the worst part that just, I can't watch the clip anymore, because the first thing, and I'm not hating on, but like Danny Welbeck's like, oh yeah, for sure, you got it. You know what I mean? He's like, and I love Danny Welbeck, but he's not making it any better with his attitude that like, oh yeah, it's a second yellow, right? I'm like, dude, like really, like okay, like, but just Kavanaugh's face, like, he just like, you gave me no choice, like I have to do this thing, and I'm like, no, you don't. There would have been less, I think, kickback if he gave Veltman a straight red. Like that made, even though I don't agree with that, that made more sense than what he did. And that's the part that kills me. Like, the thing that I thought he was going to do is it was just nothing. I thought he was going to be, hey, like, chill out, which he could have done. Remember the Michael Oliver with Ben White. Was it Michael Oliver? When Ben White just blasted the ball at McGinn after he blasted at Saliba? He could have come in there. He could have come in there and gave everyone, carded it up. He could have done it, but he didn't, because he understood, like, okay, like, let's use some tact here. We're not going to just ruin the game, for that. But he wanted to insert himself, and then just gives that smug like, well, what do you want me to do? He gave me a choice. Like, dude, okay. Like,
Clive at Arsenal Vision brought that exact point up.
Yeah,
that exact instance, and he's like, what does Oliver do? He goes over and he has a word.
Yeah,
like all right, we're done. Knock it off. Now I understand if you're letting players get away with brutality in the game, and you need to get things back under control. Yeah, you start handing out some cards, and they'll reel it in. There's a point where the talking to and the verbal warning is fine. If they're not listening to that and they're just kicking each other up and down the pitch, then yeah, you gotta reel it in. You gotta start giving some cards. There are games where officials are like, "Hey, he looked at me funny. Well, come here. Yeah, knock that off. Knock that. We don't look at people funny here. Hey, he sneezed on me. You know what I mean? Things like that, and the ref wants to hand out a card. There are other matches where usually it's us, and usually it's Bukayo Saka getting kicked up and down the pitch, and the referee, wait, huh? Who got kicked? Wait, is he there? Because I can't see him. Where is he? Wait, he's right there. You know, just like looking all around, but not looking at Bukayo Saka, writhing in pain on the ground. You know, I think Bukayo Saka is going to have to become leprous at some point and just like start pulling muscles off and holding them up, holding them up to a ref and be like, see this? He pulled, I pulled a muscle. He pulled it right off me.
Another thing that's frustrating is like, so Rice's first yellow, first off, he gets fouled. That's why he's lunging for the ball in the first place when he gets his first yellow.
Yeah.
But literally the same thing happens to Odegaard. He gets a stud right in the top of his leg. And it's like, well, he was reaching. Like, I'm not even asking for these guys to be fair at this point. But all we've ever asked for is consistency. We've seen two different calls, like literally on both sides. But and Brighton's on the good end of all of them. Right. And I said this. I tweeted this after the game or during the game, and I said, if we're not getting calls like this at home, then it's over.
The game is gone.
We're like. We're not even getting these calls at home. You know what I mean? I'm not even on board for like, home cooking, but like, we're not even getting these calls at home. Like, that's just like
the other,
like, it's so strange to me.
The other thing in all of this is like, it's Brighton. It's Brighton. It's not Liverpool. It's not United. Exactly. It's not City. It's not Chelsea. It's not like it's one of the other big six. It's not Newcastle. It's not Villa. Traditional powerhouse clubs, traditional big clubs.
Yep.
It's Brighton. So at that point, are they now thinking conspiracy theory? Are they thinking, well, if we do it with Brighton, they won't question it as much, because if we let United do this to Arsenal, they'll be up in arms. Oh, right. PGMOL, they're in Sir Alex Ferguson's back pocket.
Another ref from northern Manchester, right?
Yeah. But hey, maybe if maybe if it's against Brighton, what are they going to do with Ipswich? What are they going to do with Leicester? What are they going to do with one of the newly promoted teams against us in their barn? So what happens when we go down to the Amex now? Is
a bounty on Veltman? I need I need bounty gate on Veltman, because that was unbelievable that he did.
Like we're getting into the purge territory.
Yeah, well, you can just see him there, and I know the camera angle you're talking about because they had it on Arsenal's All Access, but he takes a second, like he wants to kick Rice. I mean, he's not. You know what I mean? You can just
he's
see
not
him
even trying to kick that ball. He's not trying to kick that ball.
Just pause and load up, and just like I can get away with this because whatever. He just nudged the ball a little bit to the right. Now I can just go at him, and it's
I don't know, man. I mean, I'll give you another one. So looking at fixtures, all right. So Declan Rice, first of all, everything in that match that Brighton did, 2 cards, 2.
Yep.
We had 6.
Yep.
We had 6, 2 to the same player. So 5 different players get carded. Obviously, Rice got 2, but 6. That's crazy to me.
A lot for us.
That's crazy to me.
That was Declan's first sending off.
Yeah, of his career.
For that?
Of his career. As physical a player as he is, he knows the line. He knows where that line is. Here's another one. So he gets sent off, knowing the next match that he won't be available for is a North London derby.
Right.
On the road.
Yep.
Next match. At Atalanta. On the road.
Yep.
So we're traveling to Italy. In between playing Tottenham on the road. Again, okay, it's 2 miles up the road, so it's not really like it's travel.
Yeah.
But hostile environment. And then go to City.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
We play on a Thursday on the road in Atalanta, which is weird. Why Thursday? Why this first match we could be Champions League or we're the Thursday on the road.
Right, of course.
We get 2 days off and go to City. City play at home.
Yeah.
On Wednesday.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just going to look at everything now and just say, see, there it is. There it is. There's no reason that Arsenal couldn't have played at home. There's no reason that.
Yeah.
I don't get the third, and it's the first match week of the season or of the Champions League. And it's the only time there's a Thursday game. Now, there are multiple, it's not just us.
Yeah, whenever you get those are always bad news, man. Like
Thursday, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 Champions League matches being played that first Thursday. The rest of the Champions League phase, there's no other Thursday game.
Yeah, see, those one-offs that's not.
And it's so why? Why there?
No.
You know, so that just I'm looking at this. I'm just saying, how many organizations are in Manchester City's back pockets at this point? Like, I'm starting to wonder if the CIA isn't in Manchester City's back pocket. That's how deep the conspiracies are going to run for me on this. So I don't know, anything else to say. I will say this one last thought on the Brighton game, and I will say that we were by far the better team. And I have said for years, and I will say this in any sport, I don't care what sport it is, what level, you have to make the referee pointless. You have to play so that no matter the referee's decisions, you are good enough to overcome them. You've done your job. The referees don't matter. And I mean, I could give examples. They're American examples, but I'm not going to do that. But there were other opportunities in this game for us to score goals, and we need to do that. So there is a little bit of blame to be handed out to Arsenal for this as well. It's not just that certainly changed the momentum of the game. I mean, they scored 7 minutes later.
Yep.
But also kind of poor defense. It's not like we got opened up at the back, you know, and it was like a 3-on-1 situation for them. It was a good ball. It was a good ball played. And Ryan makes a good save. He gives up a rebound, but, you know, so it's a little bit of poor defense on our part to give up that goal. Declan Rice is there. Probably situation doesn't happen. But so I think Arsenal, hey, we'll complain about the referees all we want. But at the end of the day, we've got a job to do as well. And I think that's if Arsenal are going to take anything from this game Saturday, finish our dinners. Every chance we get, we need to bury, because that's where the margins are now with us trying to win this league, is if we don't capitalize on every single chance we get, we run the risk of something like this happening. So, moving on, something that I found a little interesting. And real quick, I'm sorry. I said anything else, and then I kept going. Anything else on the game, boys?
I mean, yeah, I wrote, so I've been doing this now. So I been taking some quick notes that I'll just rip off really quick. Because you make a good point, and it seems like, you know, we were all over Brighton in the first 20 minutes. So to your point, I mean, we could be talking 2-3-0 games over, right? Because once we do that, and we've seen us do that before. Like when it actually clicks, like when we slapped up Newcastle, when we slapped up Chelsea, like it's 3-4-5-0. It's, you know what I mean? It gets ugly quick, and then the game's just dead. So when that doesn't happen, obviously, you know, other factors can come into play. From what I have here, like, you know, Saka absolutely getting in every second in the first 10-15 minutes. Hinselwood is just on toast the entire time. I think Trossard in the 17th minute, that cross to Odegaard, I think Odegaard has to finish that. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was kind of just, you know what I mean? It was a good effort, but a little tame. Kai, good goal. The thing about the Brighton goal that frustrates me, and I'm sure you guys watch this on the replay, it's just like, Thomas Partey just completely gives up on tracking back. Yeah. And Pedro's just right to the tap in. So it's just like stuff like that's super, super frustrating. And, you know, then we know what happens with Declan. And then after that, Kai gets the 1-on-1 that's well saved. And then I wanted to bring this up briefly. I wanted to know, you know, what you guys think is, I think Saka's got to just go down. I mean, I know that he's not one of those guys, and he never really, I mean, he got shit for it the other week when he definitely should have been a penalty, but because he he got fouled, and I forget who was it against Wolves or was it against Villa? I don't remember, but he gets clattered,
It was
and
Wolves.
he does that extra extra thing to like make sure he gets
Yep.
it, but it just looks like he's acting. But even though like he absolutely, the defender gets none of the ball and just knocks him over because he's trying to do like the Ronaldo little cutback and just gets killed. But because he like does that, they don't give it to him, which they should have. But he tries so hard to avoid that dangling leg, and I think he could easily just take that and just go down. I don't know. Maybe we need to be better at like making sure we get contact on stuff like that. But then I go back to, and I mean, I'm going back, and then I'm going back to the Bayern Munich game where,
that's the first thing that popped into my head.
So I'm like, okay. So that was that, and obviously that's 2-1 if we score that, and then I think Saka has another chance from that cross from Kai, comes in, flashes across the box. He gets his left on it, but there's just not enough on it, and and these are good chances, big chances. So I was impressed that we were able to get that down to 10 men, but God, I just wish one of them went in, and that's just just those sliding doors moments that little touch here, touch there. We're talking about we still win the game, but
exactly
happens.
Yeah. A bit of interesting news with the Champions League squad selection. Kieran Tierney is included in the Champions League squad. I am fairly certain that the squads reset after the league phase. I could be wrong on that, but I think they reset for the knockouts. So you rename your list A. And pictures have surfaced that he is training. No ball work yet, but he is training. Do either of you read anything? I mean, Kieran Tierney is a big fan of the show. Wait, the show is a big fan of Kieran Tierney. Sorry, I had that backwards. I love Kieran Tierney. I love the throwback, short sleeves, shirt tucked in. I love all of that about him. And I will, to this day, swear on a stack of phone books that I thought he would be the next Arsenal captain. Not working out for him with Mikel Arteta, but Arteta includes him in the squad. What do you guys take from that, Doc? I'll ask you first. And do you take anything from it at all, or is it just needed to put somebody in there?
The biggest thing that I took from it was it kind of put in perspective to me the size of our roster at this point. I think he's pretty much just a placeholder just to be there to look like we have strength in numbers, but I don't think there's any chance he plays for Arsenal again, really, but I definitely don't think he'll play in a Champions League game. But yeah, my takeaway was I think we're a little smaller numbers than maybe I thought.
Yeah, that is true. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing. I mean, I don't, with how it's set up now, I don't think there's going to be any like throwaway games. So I don't really see how he plays in this new format. But to your point, like there was a time where like if Tierney wasn't playing, we weren't winning. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny. It's so funny how much we've
the goal he scored in the snow at West Brom.
Yes, an absolute rocket. Oh. Yeah. And like he took a guy on, he was just like, I'm him, and I'm just gonna.
You guys want to know a fun fact about this?
Yes.
So we listed, what was it, 8 defenders or 9 defenders in that roster. He's 27 years old now. He is now our oldest defender in the squad.
Wow. That is something, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy.
Zenny and Ben White are clipping at his heels, but he's a little bit older.
Wow.
That's
a good one. That is good.
How old's Ben White? 20. So he's 26?
26, yeah.
26? I thought Zinchenko was older than that. I thought Zinchenko was like 29.
Zenny just turned 27, so they're pretty much the same age.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found that interesting that he got included. I mean, you know what? I hope he plays. I hope he I don't even if he comes in as a late defensive sub. I hope he can make one more appearance for us. I would love to see that. I think as long as he's healthy, he's gone in January. Probably on a loan, most likely. I don't think anybody would buy him in January, but I would love to see him make one more appearance for us. Ballon d'Or list was announced yesterday. The list will be whittled down. There's something like 20 players on it right now or something. Granit Xhaka made the list, if you can believe that.
Yeah, I can.
He did have a nice year for Leverkusen, but are we really including him in the conversation for player of the year? But 4 Arsenal players make it, and the only question I want to ask you guys, so of William Saliba, Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, or
Declan.
Thank you, Declan. Jeez, see, not playing North, gets sent off. I forget all about him. Of the 4, who would you think stands the best chance to win it? Ryan, I'll start with you.
Because they take into consideration your national team too. I think it's Bukayo because he was awesome in the Euros, and he saved England from the brink of elimination. And I thought he was good in every game he played. So, and I think you can make a case that Odegaard had a better Premier League season, but Norway's not playing in the Euros, so Saka's obviously going to get some extra credit for that, and that's mainly where it comes from. But Saliba, could at that. I'll say Bukayo just because that's my pick. But for me, because of including your national team and how that works, it's Bukayo, Saliba, Declan.
Saliba above Declan, really?
Yeah, dude, he might. I love Bukayo, but he legitimately might be our best player. Seriously.
Saliba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still our best player.
Yeah. So it's because defenders aren't sexy, right? But
right,
dude. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's so good. So
yeah. Doc.
Yeah, I was the same. I think Saka finishes the highest in the voting, and I think Odegaard maybe should finish higher just based on how his Premier League season went, like Real Ryan said. And I think it's sad to say, but I think Declan will probably finish near the bottom of that top 30, unfortunately. And I do think Saliba will finish higher than we think. So I'm pretty much literally in lockstep with Real Ryan on that.
Yeah. Do you think Saka can make it to the ceremony? Because they only take 3? 5.
Oh no.
How many are at the actual ceremony for the award? Because it's not all 30, is it? Is it all 30?
No.
It
gets cut down again, doesn't it?
Oh, it gets cut down again. That's what I mean. But by the time they actually announce it and at the ceremony,
it's 3.
3. Yeah, I think that's it.
It feels like it's 3. If it's 3, no. If it's 10, maybe. But if it's 5, probably not even 5. Because Bellingham, Vinny, Rodri, that's 3 right there.
Mbappe?
Haaland? He'll be higher than Bukayo probably, but just because. Another thing too is it's so hard, and I don't know, maybe there's some things we need to learn about how they pick, but it's so hard for Premier League players to win it in general.
Yeah.
They just don't. They just love Real Madrid and they love Barcelona. It's just it's Ronaldo, Messi. You know what I mean? Luka Modric.
This year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, and that's what I'm saying. But look who's at the top, right?
Yeah.
Vinny, Bellingham,
right?
Rodri is up there. Obviously, if you're going to win the Euros and win the league, you better be. But yeah, it's just tough for people from the EPL. I don't know why. It's a harder league, but maybe there's not the sauce that they're looking for over there. So I don't know.
I don't think we missed anything. I think that's pretty much it. We'll be back next week, so we'll get more into North London Derby stuff next week. I don't want to preview it too much, but there's going to be a lot of interesting conversation about how we line up. I actually think I might surprise some people with how I think we should line up, because, well, it's more out of necessity than it is, but a little teaser to get you guys all back here again next week. Unless there's anything else you guys want to hit on, we'll just do final thoughts if that's cool with you guys. Ryan.
Yeah, I don't have much. I mean, the season's not over. Okay, everyone relax. Match day 3. We got 35.
And City will drop points somewhere.
Yeah,
they always do. They don't drop many, but they do. They will.
It's gonna happen. So and I know it's frustrating, and I know like what's at stake, because it's just I'm like everybody else. Like I want this team to win something like so bad. Like so bad. I want this group, the Ben Wyatt, the Big Gabby, Little Martin, everybody. I want this group to win something bad, and I think they will. We just gotta not freak out. And other than that, I just want everyone to be safe and no injuries over the international breaks. Everyone come back healthy. Hopefully we can get Jesus back after this. And has anyone heard about Tomiyasu? Is he alive? Do we know? No. Okay. So yeah, that'd be nice too. Other than that, that's all I have. Everyone be safe and come home, and the season's not over. Those are my 2 biggest things.
Okay. Doc?
Yeah, and the good thing about this shitty situation we were put in is we can take those points back ourselves in a couple weeks when we make that trip up there. So I do like that fixture is coming up so soon. So we don't have to sit here and dwell on this. We have a chance to go and fight back and get those points. So I'm excited for that. And, if this is going to happen, at least there was, a little bit of a break in time and get a fire in our stomach to come out and go to these 2 road games and really play our asses off. So I'm excited to watch those matches.
Yeah. That'll be it for us. Stu, Kennemore, Bryson Effington, Russ Morgan was in there as well. Brady's Banana. Thank you guys all for being in the live chat. We certainly appreciate everybody listening or watching on Twitter/X. Thank you guys. Anybody watching on replay, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. Be sure to drop a like on the show. Subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so that you never miss a live show. We will be back next week. 2 shows, Loose Cannons, and we will preview the North London Derby, hopefully talking about at least one player coming back from injury, because I think he's got a pretty big role to play here in the next few weeks. And EPL Pitch Picks, we will be back again next week. We're coming back to earth a little bit, but we will turn it around. Mark my words, at least. I hope so anyway. But yeah, that's it. That's all we got. Ryan, if you are watching, which I assume, sorry. OG Ryan, if you're watching, get better soon. Or if worse comes to worse, just cut the leg off. I don't know. Just, see if that'll get you feeling better. So, but no, big up everybody. Thank you to both of you, Doc, Real Ryan. Thank you guys both. It's been good footy talk. We'll see you out there.